Hi, I'm Shannon Cyr, and today we are talking about why your wife gets frustrated and then you kind of tend to shut down, right? So, when an issue comes up in your marriage that needs to be discussed, you know, you maybe you like to think about it, right? And so my client Mark is the same way. He Something gets brought up and he likes to think about it. So he likes to work through it in his head. Um, maybe before he even mentions it to his wife, you know, if she brings something up first, again, he likes to kind of think it through and work it through in his mind. And so what'll happen is that sometimes she'll bring something up and he kind of feels like he's been blindsided by it and like he must have an answer or a resolution like right there on the spot. And so anytime he's kind of tried to step away or kind of end the discussion and take that time to think about it, he and his wife end up kind of in a big argument. And so, they process things very differently. And so, when there's an issue in the marriage, she really wants to be able to talk it through with him in order to come to a resolution. And so, in that same scenario, her frustration is that she feels like, she tries to have a discussion and then he shuts down and that he won't talk to her about the issue. And so then she thinks he just doesn't care, right? And so she'll keep trying to talk and make her point and get him to listen to her. But he just ends up shutting her out and really just has little to say. And so it's kind of like the more she talks about it, then the more he feels trapped and like he has to find the right answer. And so he feels like he can't come to a clear resolution that quickly and that he really just wants some time to kind of think about everything that she said, right? So sometimes when this is kind of going on, he just kind of agrees with her to end the conversation, even though his true feelings and needs are really not being expressed. Sometimes he tries to just stay and stick it out and have a conversation that he's really not ready to have. And that ends with both of them repeating themselves, raising their voices, and eventually just walking away, right? And kind of just stuffing it down, until the next time. And then it comes up again, and then that cycle kind of repeats itself, right? So, the resentment from not talking about it and then arguing about the same unresolved issues over and over has really built up over the years for both of them now. And they're just really disconnected from one another. He's not really sure if he wants to keep trying. He feels like he can't get it right. He feels like the same argument happens over and over again, right? So what if this is just a misunderstanding? What if they just process information differently, right? What if there was a different way to approach this so he could get the result that he wants, which is resolution, and so does she, right? And then also, where he doesn't feel like he can't get it right, So here's the truth. Men and women process information differently. We just do. Women really tend to work through the issues that they have by talking about them. And so it's the talking it through is really, that's where the processing and the clarity occurs. So this is not only, a learned and cultivated skill with women, it's also how the female brain works. So we have many, many connections between the left and the right hemispheres of the brain that allow us to talk about and process many thoughts, many emotions simultaneously. So, his wife isn't trying to badger him or force him to listen. She isn't intentionally trying to escalate the talk when he doesn't respond. It's just a matter of how she processes the issue. She's just trying to work it through, right? Now, men, on the other hand, usually they really would prefer to kind of step away from an issue and think it through before talking about it. They don't process information as easily by talking it through. What comes more naturally to men is thinking it through, right? So men typically like to stop, think about it, and then talk about it later on. And so sometimes this need to step away and think about it or kind of think it through gets interpreted by your wife as you shutting down. So, yes, you can choose to talk it through. That can be done, but it just may not come as easily, especially if the issue is, more emotionally demanding. So lots of men become frustrated because they think that, they need to think in order to process. They feel like they can't get it right or please their spouse when they try to just stay and talk it out right away. So then they feel like they aren't getting anywhere, right? So oftentimes they end up walking away, or like I said, the talk gets escalated and both people become frustrated. So, and then lots of women become frustrated because the husband won't talk it through with them in the moment, right? And then they just make this assumption that he doesn't care. And so that it just isn't true, right? It's just the difference in how we process information. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't resolve the issues, right? It just means that we come to resolution through different paths. When we can allow each other to really process the information in a way that suits each of us in the relationship, then we can get resolution and not feel so frustrated. So it doesn't matter how we get there, just that we get there. So you can fight it, and you can insist that your spouse process information the same way you do, or you can acknowledge the difference and kind of work with it, rather than against it. So why not try a different approach? Explain what you need and ask for what you want. So, tell your wife that it's important to you and that you just need some time to think about it and process it. Tell her you want to talk about it and that it's important to you, and set up a time to come back to it. Just make sure that you come back to the discussion like you said that you would, right? So this way she feels heard and like you care about the issue too. But it also gets you the time that you need to process the information and show up the way that you really want to when you have that conversation. So you can think about it like this, right? You can drive, from Chicago to Atlanta, and you can, get there probably in, 10 or 11 hours, something like that, if you drive directly south. Or you can drive through Arizona to Atlanta. It's going to take days and days to do that. Both are going to get you there, but one is shorter and far less painful. So I hope this was helpful for you and you liked what you heard. Please subscribe to the channel to be notified when I come out with new information every week. If you'd like to find out if there's ways that you can create change in your marriage, I invite you to download the free ebook, Stay or Go, at mensmarriagecoach.com. All my best.